but there are some other issues on the agenda that I want you to be aware of them, of at this point. And one of them has to do with a school employee who used some pretty blatantly racist language in speaking to students. And I wanted to talk to the attorney involved in this case because I'm not even sure that the attorney, Greg Kafoury, who's been on the show so many times before, and again, I try to show my ecumenical approach to things because Greg and I don't agree on all things political, to put it mildly. But Greg, welcome to the program. And would you mind describing for my audience what it was that this school employee said to the students? And I would have objected to it as well.
There were about 15 kids that were laughing loudly in the lunchroom. Fifth grade kids. One of them is a jokester and had the kids in stitches. The monitor came over and she said, "You kids can't go outside to finish your lunch like the other kids can because you're being noisy." And she said, "I think I should videotape you on my cell phone, and then I'll play it at your graduation in a couple of weeks so your parents can see how noisy you were." It's kind of an idiotic thing to say.
I agree, because I think when you're in fifth grade, being noisy is part of the game. But,
yeah, and if you're noisy, send them outside.
Yeah, send them outside. Be noisy outside.
But then she said that you're then, and this is mostly black and brown kids, mixed race and African American, so on. She said, "You're lucky I'm not making you guys pick cotton and clean my house or paint my house," casting herself in the role of,
slave master,
slave owner, and them as slaves, talking to fifth grade kids. It was, and one of the kids said, "You just can't talk to us that way." And she said, "Oh yeah, you go to the principal's office," and sent the kid off to the principal's office. And the kids came back and told their teacher what happened, and the principal came in and talked to the kids, and that's how it started.
Well, and I'll tell you, I would agree. I can't believe that somebody who works in a public school would think that kind of language was an appropriate thing to do. But the school took action against the employee, did they not?
They did in extremis. You're a media guy, Lars, and you understand the difference between what happens in bureaucracies when light is shined on them and when light is not shined on them.
Yep.
And in this case, the mother of one of the kids, her name is Cyrita Spencer. Her daughter is Jasmine. She went to the principal's office same day. As soon as her daughter got home and told her, she went talk to the principal, and the principal seemed sympathetic. And she said that the principal said, I went to the classroom. That the teacher invited me. I talked to all the kids, and they all agreed. There was no. That's exactly what the woman said. And she said, I'm going to talk to the woman, and we can talk on Monday. So Monday morning, that was Friday. Monday morning, Miss Spencer called the principal, and the principal had cooled. She seemed more distant, and she said, "Here's what's going to happen. The woman is no longer going to monitor lunch for fifth graders, but she's going to monitor lunch from K through 4 kids." And
so no effective punishment at all.
That's the way it appeared.
I mean, this isn't, you're going home for 2 days without pay, which would sting for most people, or a week without pay. And there's no, well, we're going to sit down and have a chat with you, and and you're going to get some punishment and maybe a little training, but we're going to salvage you as an employee. But now that you've stepped over that line, if we see a pattern and you do it again, you're gone. That would be an effective way to send a message, and I think most private employers would probably do that. You're going home for the day, and no pay for today, and too bad. But they didn't do that. Why do you think they salvaged this employee, especially in an America today where people are literally destroyed in some cases, and sometimes inappropriately, for a simple comment or an offhand comment? This, I think, was a little more, it might have indicated that she thought it was okay to tell kids that they should be out picking cotton, and knowing that they're children of color, you'd have to be completely ignorant to not see the implications of that.
There's an obliviousness which is sort of mind-boggling. Yeah, I'm very much with you about the oversensitivity in the society and trigger warnings and microaggression and safe spaces and all these ridiculously pampered college kids who.
Greg, that's amazingly sensible of you as a tried and true liberal. I'm thrilled and surprised.
No, but we need people who grow up strong and willing to call out the establishment, willing to stand up to authority, willing to make noise, willing to cause trouble.
You mean not willing to say, I'm a delicate snowflake and I need to go to my safe space and put on pajamas and drink hot chocolate?
There was a great article written about Mayor Pete. And the author said, he's got all these great credentials. He said, I don't want anybody who's
by the way, for those of you who didn't catch the reference. He's running for president. So.
Yeah. Buttigieg with a funny name. He said, I don't want anybody who's a Rhodes Scholar. He said, Rhodes Scholars are people who identify upward, went through school, never an absence, never a tardy, always got A's. And so he said, I don't want somebody who got in trouble. Somebody who talked back, somebody who didn't allow themselves to be entirely guided by rules that other people had set. I'm a Bernie Sanders kind of a guy. But in this instance, what I suspect happened is that there were some conversations with the administration, and the administration said, mollify them. They'd say, the teacher's not going to oversee the kids at lunch. But she's fine. She's fine to oversee the kindergarten through 4.
Greg, let me ask you something specific.
I think the idea is these kids are going to graduate in a couple of weeks. They're fifth graders. They're off to middle school, and then we can forget about it. And that's
except that it's still
bureaucratic sweeping it under the rug.
Yeah, and if that now, let me be clear. I had understood from several of the stories this was a lunchroom monitor or somebody who worked on the kitchen staff aisles. But was she a teacher or works in a classroom, or was she just a lunchroom?
I do not know if she works in any of the classroom. She's called an instructional assistant. Mm-hmm. And she monitored lunch classes. She monitored recess and so on. I don't know if she also assisted. I know that they have people often who assist teachers, but I don't know if she was or not.
Now, Greg, you're representing the aggrieved party in this case, the families. Right. You even said, when I said, well, what do you think would be the proper remedy? Lawyers always like to talk about remedies and making people whole. What would make your clients whole in this case?
Well, this is not, I'm not dealing with a child who's seriously damaged. I'm dealing with a child who's seriously humiliated and angry and has been demeaned. I think that the school district needs to do something, reach out in some way, in a way that shows that they really care about this. And for instance, the principal, when she was talking to the kids and the kids told them what happened on Friday, the principal shifted after saying, well, no, this is terrible, shouldn't happen. She shifted and started talking about, well, accountability for you kids is an important thing. And after all, you are making noise in the lunchroom. And the idea that you kind of equate fifth graders laughing at somebody's jokes in a big open place like a cafeteria with racist insults by an adult in authority against fifth grades. I mean, it's a bunch of fifth grade minority kids. It shows a lack of sensitivity at the top, which raises the question: why did this woman feel comfortable saying things like this? What's the culture of this suburban school that would let somebody think they can talk this way?
And the principal didn't immediately say, well, that teacher, we don't know her name. Do we know her name?
Right. Yeah, we do, but I'm not going to.
All right. Well, fair enough. We don't. Sure. The teacher, the principal should have communicated the message. A teacher should never speak that way to students. And rather than trying to say, but you kids shouldn't have been loud. I don't care how loud the kids were. I mean, does that mean if the kids had been even louder, she could have walked in and used the N-word or something?
Sure.
Because that wouldn't have been appropriate either. either. I'm not sure that you necessarily have to fire this person, but I agree with you that we'll shift her to a different bunch of kids and let her treat them
let's
badly.
talk about what happened next. What happened next, Lars? After the principal says, well, that's all I can do on Monday, and she's not gonna be overseeing, the fifth graders at lunch. My client felt the mother felt very blown off. And she anticipated this is as far as it's going to go. So she called one of the TV stations and gave an interview, and it played at 11 o'clock that night, and it went viral because it's a kind of story that people can grasp and can have an emotional reaction to. And then on Wednesday, 2 days later, the woman was suspended, and then she resigned, as they called it, on Friday. But
you mean the wrongful termination lawsuit comes later, right?
This only
happened. That's going to happen, don't you? Isn't she going to go talk to a lawyer? And she'll probably say,
kidding me?
No.
No. Yeah, let me tell you what it's like to practice law. Because I tell you, I've been doing this for 45 years. I probably take 8 or 10 phone calls a day because I'm the old guy in the office, and I take all the new client calls, and I spend a lot of time every day listening to people's troubles and telling them they don't have a case.
Yep.
Because the way you die in this business is taking cases that are not good cases.
Yep.
And that's the quick road to Palookaville. So probably the most important thing that a lawyer can do is pick his battles, his or her battles, and nobody's going to give this lady 5 cents if she files a procedural kind of due process claim or something. It just has no appeal at all. And this is what I do for a living. And the idea that lots of people are angry. Lots of people would like to file lawsuits, but lawyers that take lousy cases.
Greg, I'm not even a lawyer, but I spend a lot of time telling people, well, you really don't have a case or you don't have standing.
Sure.
And I tell them, to take, and I'm like I like to model myself after one of my heroes, Lincoln, who said he encouraged young lawyers not to go down and file lawsuits just to file lawsuits. And this was a long time ago.
Well,
in the 1800s. He said, there'll be plenty of work to have without going down and just filing suits or looking for excuses to sue. Greg, I'll be interested to follow up on the case, and I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Thanks always, Lars. Bye-bye.
That is attorney Greg Kafoury. We'll be back in just a moment. It's First Amendment Friday, live all over Oregon, Washington, and Idaho on the Radio Northwest Network and the Lars Larson Show.